Hello and welcome to all. My name's Marsha and I'm the head of partnerships at Kilimanjaro. We are very excited to have you all in this session today, which is the first one in the series that focuses on customer satisfaction. Joining me in the session today is Jason, who is the founder and director of eveXso. eveXso is our trusted partner when it comes to warehouse management system, and we've seen quite a few successes come out of this for our joint customers, both on eveXso and Acumatica. Really looking forward to hearing what Jason has to share, and I'm sure you'll get good value out of this session as well. Before we start, if you think of any questions that you might want to ask, please use the Q&A button and we will go through them towards the end of the session. So welcome, Jason. Very pleased to have you with us today, and let's kick off with the agenda.
Good afternoon, everybody, wherever you are. I'm Jason from eveXso. We're a warehouse management system, and we work closely with Kilimanjaro. I have done for quite a number of years over eveXso and my Advanced platform. And so I'm very pleased to be invited to talk a little bit about the warehouse's role in customer satisfaction. So we'll come to that in a minute. Before we start, just a couple of acronyms, I suppose. Most people will know them, but just in case you don't, if I refer to a WMS, I am referring to a warehouse management system. If I talk about a TMS, I'm referring to a transport management system. And if I refer to POD, I'm talking about proof of delivery, sign on glass, that kind of thing. So what we're going to cover today. So this is not just going to be a slideshow. I'm going to actually show eveXso and show you around, so you get a good idea of how it works and maybe demonstrate a few of the things that we talk about. So we're going to talk a little bit about customer satisfaction and the WMS. Then we're going to look at some of the ways that you can work with the WMS in order to improve that service, such as how we process the orders, with the workflow of the orders, how we prioritize the orders to make sure that customers get things on time, and how we communicate both internally and externally to improve the customer service. Then we'll do a little overview and we'll set up an order in the system. I'll show you what eveXso looks like and all the elements. We can then look at different elements. So we'll look at the three methods of the warehouse working with your customers, the touch points, which are when a customer collects the order, how eveXso can help there. Courier dispatch, so sending it out with third-party couriers and carriers, and also your own delivery system. And then we've got a little bit of time afterwards, obviously, for questions and answers. So let's get to it. So a really easy question, I suppose, is why is customer satisfaction important? I don't probably need to go too much into that, but I mean, a satisfied customer, firstly, will buy more, and they will buy more from you. If they're satisfied, there's no reason for them to move on to other customers or explore other avenues of getting the product. And they talk more to their friends. They'll mention it to their business colleagues, to people that they, personally, they'll mention how good it is. And that will obviously lead to more sales. So let's talk about a little bit how the warehouse can help, because obviously it's great having a great sales process and a great product, but if you don't deliver the product, then it's all to nothing, because at the end of the day, the customers don't, the salespeople sell to them, but they're buying the product itself. And if you need a warehouse management product, then you obviously deliver goods to people. So let's just talk a little bit about preparing orders. So all the orders come into the system. We want to get them out to the customer in the most efficient way. So firstly, the workflow of the order. What do we need to do in order to make that process seamless? So firstly, of course, we can consolidate orders. So what I mean by that is you've got single order picking. So an order comes in, you prepare that order by itself and you send it out to the customer like that. Or you can consolidate by customer. So if you have a scenario where lots of customers put in multiple orders and you want to ship them all to the same address, then you might want to consolidate by customer automatically. Or you might want to consolidate it by service. So when I talk about a service, particularly for us, we're talking about, say, a method of dispatch. So it might be a vehicle. You might want to consolidate all the orders and pick everything for the north truck or the west truck or whatever in one to make it more efficient. Then the other one is just to manually create a wave. So I want to pick these 4 or 5 orders together to get them to do. So we can consolidate things to make things efficient, and different scenarios lend themselves to different ways of doing that. Then we've got to prepare the order by packing it and checking it. So, you may just want to pick it and then check the order, and just to make sure. So you've got a second person goes through, ticks everything off, maybe fills out a form to say they've checked it, or you might pack it in order to prepare it for dispatch or delivery. So there's 2 options there, really. You can pick and pack it at the same time, where you walk around with a pallet jack and you just put things on a pallet. You might use a license plate to pick for that. Or you can pick it first and then pack it afterwards. And you in those ones, you can either pick it and then pack it into a box. So scan each item into a pack. That will allow you to give contents for each pack to the customer, if that's important to you or to them. And it also acts as a checking step, because you can have a different packer. Or you can just say, I've managed to put it in this many boxes. So packing not in detail effectively. And then we get down to consigning. Obviously, if you're sending it out with a customer, it's just a case of waiting for the customer to come. But if you're consigning it, we're talking about a third party, and you've got a connection to a system such as Open Freight or MacShip, then do you want to consign it automatically, or do you want to consign it by getting quotes onto the device? And then the user selects it. Okay, so we've got our orders. They're all sitting on the system with our picks. They may be wave picks, they may be single order picks, but we also then want to prioritize them. So obviously, there's a number of ways of doing that. So we can prioritize orders just by saying the first in is first out. So if we don't have a system where we have specific days for things, then we might just have a order comes in, order goes out. Then we can do it by required date, again with first in. So if I've got orders for next week and then I get an order for tomorrow, then I obviously want the order for tomorrow to come up before the order for next week, because it needs to go out first. Then we've got the assigning of priorities. So you should be able to, within that, be able to say this one's urgent, bump it up the list, and assign those priorities. And then finally, you should be able to assign it to a picker. So you might want to say, look, we normally run in first in best dressed, but this one I want to get Dave to pick, because Dave's really good and I need to get it out now. So he will assign that order to Dave, and then Dave can go and pick it. And then we can also use shifts. So shifts are just a way that you can assign certain dispatch methods to a particular set of users. So a good example of that would be, we have a large food service company. They work 24 hours a day, but the night shift just prepare and load the trucks for the following day's dispatch, and then the day shift work on larger orders for palletized orders going out in road trains, etc. So the night shift have a shift of night shift, and they prioritize they only see on their devices the truck runs for the next day. So north truck, west truck, south truck, that kind of thing. And they prioritize those by when they can further prioritize and sort those by when those vehicles need to leave. So we've got a vehicle that's going into the countryside, then we want to pick and get that ready before the other ones, because that driver needs to leave first. So they'll put that one at the top. So we can use different ways of getting the order to display on the device in the order that we want to display on the device and to the right people. And then finally, we've got to communication. So we need to communicate. Communication is important. Communication will be from the sales team to the warehouse team. So maybe notes saying, pack the order nicely, or on a particular inventory line, instructions for them to check something or whatever. We should be able to send out collect notifications. So, for example, if a customer's put an order for collection, then we want to be able to say, hey, your order's ready to collect, and provide them instructions on where to go and what time to go if they need to or whatever. It can provide tracking links when it's been sent out by a customer. And also we should be able to deal with when something goes wrong. So if there's a complaint, you should have a process around rectifying that complaint. So at this point, I want to nip over to show you a little bit around before we come back and talk about the particular ways of dispatching and how we can process those. And then again, for each of those, we'll show how that might look in your system or with eveXso. So we'll go through a quick platform overview. We'll look at the scanning options that we've got. We'll look at the user experience, have a quick chat about that. And we'll look at the order management overview. So that's the prioritizing and the signing, etc., in conjunction with adding an order into the system from MyHub Acumatica. So obviously it works with other systems as well, like MyHub eveXso, but we're going to just focus on MyHub Advanced in this one. So the elements I've got here is here's an outlook with a demo of eveXso.com, which is got nothing in it, which is kind of a nice thing, but a rare thing in most people. We've got nothing in that system at the moment, and that will be used to receive. It'll be like a pseudo printer because obviously I can't demonstrate printing off consignment levels, but I can demonstrate it by emailing it and also notifications. Then there's the web frontage for eveXso and also for MyHub Acumatica. So this is how eveXso is delivered. It's delivered via a website where we can look at different elements, do different things. I'm going to show you that in a minute. And then there's the actual devices themselves. So apologies for having a lot on this display. But I wanted to show you different ways. So eveXso is delivered on iOS and Android. And you download it from the App Store or the Play Store. So it's one app for everybody. And when we do updates, we update everybody. So we have regular updates. So you're never kept behind. There's no upgrade path. It's kind of inherent in the system. But the three that you can see on here, this one in the middle is just an Android phone. And you can see what eveXso looks like on that. The one on the right, this is on my iPhone. So this is a iOS device, and the one on the left here is a Zebra device. This is Zebra. So this one has the, I don't know if you can see my little thing. This one allows you to scan using a point and shoot, but it looks like this. So it's just a single device, robust device. And we deal with many of the Zebra and the Honeywell items in terms of using eveXso. So that brings me to the scanning options first. So the scanning options are, as I just mentioned, we've got the Honeywell scanner, which we can use to scan. I'm just looking myself out by accident. Which we can use using the scanner on the top. And then we've got the Android and the iOS with just the phone. So this is just my personal iPhone, and I can go in and I can use the camera to scan a barcode. That's very quick, wasn't it? If I want to scan that one, then as soon as it sees a barcode, it reads it and opens it up. It's very quick. The barcode scanner that we've got can also read more complex barcodes. For example, this one at the top, if you have this in your business, it's a barcode that encodes more than just the information. So it's got the barcode on it, which identifies the product. It's got a date code in it, which is an expiration date, and it's got a batch number. So with a single scan, with the right product, we can pick that up from the barcode scan. All right, get rid of that. Excuse me. Get rid of that and minimize that one. So those are the scanning options. You've got the camera scanner, which works on both the iOS and the Android, and you've got a dedicated scanner, which will be from either Zebra or Honeywell. So we support the big two effectively. From a look and feel perspective, we try and keep the interface very clean and easy to read, because we want color to pop out. We want it to be consistent as well. So in this one, you'll notice that this user, which is my limited user, has access to certain things, but this user, which is another user that I've got, has access to more things. So you can limit what people can see based on their role and their responsibility. So we use roles and settings to show and hide and what people can do. So on the device here, I can go into thing. You will notice that I'm swiping. So when I tap the screen, we don't do anything because in a warehouse, people pick things up and put things down all the time. So by picking it up, people have got fat fingers and they'll move things around. So we'll just swipe it to get in, and then we can search for a product by doing that, or we can scan it. So these are some of the products, and then when I go into it, we can see, we can have images, blah, blah, blah. So there's lots of stuff in there. We can see where the on hands are. We can see what barcodes are related to it. We can see and record images, and we can also reprint a label for that inventory. So let's look. Let's first of all, in our outgoing at the moment, we'll see that we've got 3 picks to do. Right? We're going to add another pick, which we will do from MyHub right now. So these picks, these are like your piece of paper, effectively, that you would print off on your picking slip. It would show you who it's for, what the order number is, how big it is, how it's going out, when it's going out. You'll notice that we use words like today, we use tomorrow, we use Monday, that kind of stuff to make it easier to understand. And we also put in the age, which is the amount of time the order has been on the scanner. So let's just quickly add one order. I have created, obviously, a few orders already, but we'll just add one. This one we're going to add for a customer, and we're just going to go add some golf balls. I sell a lot of golf balls. And what we might want to do is, we talked about the communicating. So in this case, we can put in notes here. But so in notes in here come from the sales order, and also in my eveXso, for example, it's a header narrative and then a line narrative, or in here, the ones that go down the middle, please. They exist. So we create this order, and then we'll send that order out to the WMS, which we will do by creating a shipment in this case. But in other systems, so in my eveXso, there's a checkbox that you just tick that will then send it to eveXso. Right. So let's look at the picking queue here. So we can see the orders that are in there while we wait for that other one to come in. We can see the service. If we click on it, we can see what's on it. We can see the required date, and we can see a list of users here that are available to assign the jobs to. So let me just show you in here that both, so this is me without limited, and this is me, so they're actually different users. And when I go in, I can see both on the device. Right? If I go into one on here, and then I refresh this one, then I won't be able to get into it. We'll see that blue, again, a color that makes it pop out, tells me that it's locked to a different user, and I won't be able to get into that until somebody gets out of it. Right. Oops, didn't mean to go into it again. So there we are, unlocked. So here's my orders here. We can see this new one's just come in at the bottom, which is the one that we just entered. So what I might want to do is a couple of things. We talked about prioritizing. So I might want to say Tiger Woods is more important than everybody else. So I want to make him more urgent. So when I go back in, I get a priority 1 at the top. So that moves him to the top, so we can prioritize that way. I'll just make him no priority again and go back in. And you'll see that the list is back to the same. The next one would be, I might want to assign that to a particular user. So or 1 or 2 orders, and I can assign it, and I might assign it to my limited account. Okay, so once I've assigned that there, on the right-hand side is my limited account. So if I refresh that, I've just got that order. And on the left side, which currently has that order, if I refresh it, I see everything except that order. So that's how we can assign it. It just means that that person can only do that until they've finished it. So that's another way. So that's set up for a demo. So let's just go back to the the slideshow, and then we'll talk about distribution methods, and then we'll go through and we'll do a demonstration of each of those in terms of a workflow. So there's three ways that the goods can leave your business. Customer collection, obviously where the customer comes in to collect it, via third-party courier, or such as TNT, toll, etc., or you can deliver it using your own fleet of vehicles. So those are the three methods at the moment. And you would use different ones in different scenarios. Obviously, customer collection, where the customer says, I want to come and fetch it, or it's very urgent and say, look, if you come and collect it, we can have it ready to you, ready for you. It's faster for the customer. From a warehouse perspective, you can say, look, we don't want to spend as much time preparing a collected order. We might want to just pick it and then take it to the front counter and then wait for the customer, print a label. So it's very easy and quick to prepare. And also, obviously, from a customer point of view, they're coming into your warehouse and they can see anything else that you've got and buy something else off you. And how a warehouse management can help? Well, firstly, of course, we can send a notification when the order's ready for the customer to collect. So if they put an order in, it goes into a queue. If you do a lot of pickups, it might take you a day to do it. So you send an order out saying, hey, your order's ready to pick up, and you can customize and say what needs to be on that information. You can prioritize the order to ensure it's ready in time. I just showed you that you can prioritize the order to do it first. And you can also, when you've prepared the orders, if you don't know when the customer's going to come in, you say it's ready, but it doesn't mean they're going to turn up in an hour. They might turn up the next day or the day after that even. So you want to be able to locate the packages so that when the customer does arrive, it's very easy for your customer service team to find it. And you might want to catch a proof of delivery to say that the customer's collected it. So let's have a look at that in action. So we have a pickup here for Tiger Woods. Everybody's very excited that Tiger's going to come. So let's go in and have a look at our picks. So we'll see that order there on here. So I'm going to swipe into it. So to do that, it tells me that he's picking up from the shop. So I'll swipe in to open it, and it will show me the items that he wants. Now, in this case, we talked about a supply plan or a method of picking it. We're actually going to pick and pack it at the same time. So we're going to create a box by swiping that, where you can pre-print license plates. And we're going to swipe to scan the product, which I just did for this one here. And I'm going to say I need 2 of them. And I've finished it. So what eveXso does is it takes you to the next screen that's relevant to you. And in this case, we only had one item to pick. So to make it easier for your onboarding, it tells people the order's ready to complete. So I'm going to complete the pick. Now we do need to go and pack it in this case. So I'm going to just go and close the pack. And we've specified here that we want to scan that pack into a location. So I'm going to just scan it into 1A4. Which means that you can have a set of pigeonholes, for example, around the dispatch area. You might have a roller door where a customer comes and you put them in a roller vault, so you can scan them into that location and then close it. And then once I've done that, I've completed my packing. So it's disappeared off my list of things to do, and I don't have to do anything else in order to wait for it. So I go back into my picking queue. It's disappeared off here. And if I go into my shipments, I'll go into shipments now, I suppose. We'll see that it's now confirmed. So it's gone into MyOb and it's confirmed. And we've also then put in the packages as well, which we can see there. So we've got a package with that. So we've provided that information back to there, and we've also sent an email to the customer to tell them that their order is ready to collect their order. Their order number, our order number. We have 1 pack to collect. Please go to Long Drive Street and gate 2, and it tells them what the packs are and what's in the packs. So that's the way that you can communicate. So that goes off to Tiger, and he says, right, well, I'm going to go and collect it. So within eveXso at the bottom here, you'll see we've got a WMS and a TMS because it's a single system. We're going to here, and then we can go into customer collections, and we can see that order, which was actually I've got two there, which is actually the second one. So he comes in to collect his orders. Maybe we'll collect both of them at the same time because he's put in two. Here are the orders and the packages. I can see the packages here and I can see where those packages are located. So the one that we just did was in 1A4 and the other one is in 1A1. And I can go and fetch those packages. Right. Once I've finished collecting the packages, I just need to get a proof of delivery. So not his official signature. And oh, we also want to get a photograph of Tiger. And that order is now successfully delivered. And we've got a POD collected that allows us to prove that we delivered the product. Right. So that's a typical process flow for a customer collection. We pick the order, we put it into a pack. We put the pack on a shelf so that we know what it is. We send an email to the customer to tell them that the order was ready. And when we arrived, because we recorded where the package was, we made it easy to go and fetch, and the customer experience was better. Right. So next one would be courier services. So that's your tools, your Star Tracks, your Australia Post, that kind of stuff. Great for out of metro or further away from the office deliveries, or for smaller businesses that don't have the infrastructure to do their own. Specialist deliveries where you've got items that might require tail lift or other things, little cranes, etc., to deliver. And it's relatively low cost and easy to do, and they've got a larger capacity to deliver because obviously they've got the fleet and that's what they do. So how can a WMS help with that? Well, we can prepare the order for the courier, so capturing the packs and pallets, that kind of stuff. We can record the dangerous goods, which will make an impact onto which services you can send it. We can determine which is the cheapest or the fastest, and we can prioritize them again by sending them to different teams based on perhaps what time that courier comes to collect it or how urgent it is. And obviously, we can communicate with the customer again to tell them, give them the tracking links and tell them when the order's ready. So let's delete that. So then let's have a look at a couple of scenarios there. So we've got two here. We've got one that's on a toll road and one that we want to get a quote for. So let's look at how those get processed in the system. So we go back to outgoing again. And the different flows. So the quote flow, I think, is we're going to pick the order, then we're going to say how many packs. Whereas the one that goes to toll, we're going to pick it and then we're going to pack it in detail. So this one will be packing detail, and this one will be packing in no detail. So either of those might work for you. Within the system, we set up our packs and pallets, which we can which pre-fills. So we can pre-fill if you've got your own types of, if you've got your own pallets, etc. And you can also specify what kind of pallet it is and the courier type if we need to. So this one is actually connected to a system called Open Freight, and Open Freight they're a freight consolidator, but they also have a platform that allows you to get quotes, load your prices in, that kind of stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick it, we're going to pack it, and then it's going to consign it straight away without us having to go to a screen, which is going to save us time. So let's do this one first. So those are the picker instructions that we put in when we entered the order. Please pack it nicely. And you'll see that the lines come up, the line we put in red. So again, it stands out. We have a little information button here, which we can click, which then we can see the images. If we've loaded the images, we can go into the inventory or we can request a stock check if we want to. So the idea is that the picker can request a stock check, keep the stock up to date, but we're just picking today. So I'm just going to pick my items. Because it's one, it just automatically picks it. And if it's two, I've got to enter two. And finished. Right. Again, takes me to the screen saying I've finished. We could leave this in a packing location. I'm allowed to pack my own order, so I get this pack button. Sometimes you have a team of pickers and then a team of packers. But let's just pack them together. So this is packing in detail. So I'm going to create a box and then I'm going to put the items into the box. And then that will finish the pack. Yeah. Because we're preparing this for a courier, we also need to tell the courier whether it's a pallet or a carton or a satchel or whatever. So we use our pack types that I just showed you. So it's a medium, and we just enter the weight. And once we've done that, we close that. That gives us the information here, and we can complete the packing. And it's dropped off this list, right? So in this case, we were doing it for a particular courier service. So in a moment, this will pretending because we're printing. Printing obviously is quicker than emailing it, but what it's going to do is it's going to email me some documentation, and you can decide what documents you want to print. But here's my consignment label, which is printed off with my con note number, and here is my dispatch label. But the dispatch document, you can have a print document. Of course, it's completely customizable. You might use this in a scenario where you don't know, you want to go to a computer screen and enter it in. So we've got our stuff there. And then if we go into our shipments, we'll see that that one that we've just done is now confirmed. And in the packages tab, we've put in the tracking number and then the references and also what's in the pack. Right. So that's where we know which courier we're going to do. Let's just quickly do the other scenario, which is where we don't know. We want to make a decision based on what's available at the time. So I'll just quickly pick this one. So, and this one is packing, but it's packing it in detail. So I've picked it. I'm now going to go into the packing screen, and we need to create a pack, at least one pack. And I'm going to say it's two small cartons. So they're both like 4 kilograms each. And I'm going to say there's 2 of them. So this is just to save time. And then I close that and I complete the packing. Okay. So it's disappeared off my picking list. And if I go along the list, I can see anything that needs to happen. And what we'll see now is that that order has now gone into the consigning queue. So we know the packages, we've got 2 packages, weighs 8 kilograms because we said there were 2 at 4, and a volume. So if I go into that, we have a process that we check the address is okay through the Australia Post or the New Zealand Post website, and then we can click on get quotes. That goes to the third party that we connect to, and then it gives us a heap of options as to how we can do it. So we can see the cheapest at the top, but if you go down, that one, Star Trek Road Express will get there a day earlier, TNT will get there even earlier, but it's 404, so I might choose that one because customer wants it quickly. That will then go away and consign that order and then give me the consignment number and the delivery estimate. So that's 2 ways of doing the same thing. So one was to create pack it in detail, and the other one was to pack not in detail, and also the first one was we know how we're sending it, so we don't need to tell the user. We can just go ahead and consign it automatically. Or the other one is that we want to collect. We want it to go to a quote queue, and then the person can then go and do the quote. Right. So that'll come through in a minute. So let's go back again and just talk finally about the proving your own deliveries. So obviously, if you've got your own vehicles, it's a great way of doing it because you're in complete control over the sequencing and the time you deliver it. You're also completely in control of the service level because it's usually your people or contractors. So you've got better control and more visibility. So so how can your WMS help? Well, it can also send out notifications, of course. It can provide information to internal customers, so the sales team. So one thing you get is, have to phone the driver up and say, what time are you going to get to this? You can see the schedule, you can see the estimate. And when you're on site, you can capture proof of delivery. And if you need to collect credit, you can also do that. Sorry, here's my consignment labels for the 2 for Indrapilli, and then my dispatch document again, which has got the 2 pallets. Right, let's go back and let's look at our own deliveries. So firstly, I already entered in a couple of orders. So we've got our local trucks. We've got 2 consignments for 2 customers. And if I open that, I can see where we're going to Cottesloe and Kirkcarroll. I also then entered a new order into here for Matlolly Golf Club, which is also going on our local truck deliveries. So what I'm going to do with this is pick it quickly. It's going to also be a pick and pack at the same time. So we're going to end up with 1 pack. We pick the items and we complete it. And we'll just go and close the pack. So closing the pack is where we want to just print the labels. Once we're happy with it, that will print the stickers. And we complete the packing. So that one is now done and ready to go. So what happens is that plops into the queue here. So now we'll see we've gone to 3 consignments and 3 customers. We open it up here and we can see our orders at the bottom here that's been assigned, right? So we want to prepare that now for delivery. So the driver's turned up for his run. We're going to select the consignments that are ready to go. We can see the order. I'm going to put it in a silly order. We can drag and drop the customers into an order. We can use a predefined sequence, but then what we can do is we can calculate the routes, which is going to use Google and add so 5 minutes or whatever in this case to the drive for the drop time. So we've got driving time of 1 hour and 37, a total time including drops of 1 hour 52. And if we look on the map, we can see why it's not a particularly sensible way of doing it. Because this is our warehouse, we're going all the way over here, then we're coming back next to the warehouse and then going all the way out there. So we can resolve that by using optimize route, which is going to reduce it to 1 hour and 8 minutes and change the sequence to go in a more sensible manner. So if we go back in again, now we can see we got 1, 2, 3. Once we're happy with that, we might want to send it out to for manifesting. So we create a manifest. Oops, we need to specify a vehicle. So we can specify a vehicle. I think we'll take the Aston Martin in this case. And then we create a manifest. And then there's nothing left to consign. So this is unmanifested. We can now move on to track manifests, and we can see that one at the bottom here. And we can open it up and see, and this can be used to track our delivery as we go ahead. So that's what we're going to spend the rest of the time. It's actually printed a manifest off of where I'm going. Here's a different type of document that I'm going to print, and also it printed off. It sent a notification to the customer saying that it's ready to go and it'll be on the next truck. We could also then, when we manifested it, we could have a notification sent to them to say it's on the truck and it should be at this time. Right, so back to our device. So what we do to pick it up is we go into the transport management system and we can go into deliveries and we can see a list of deliveries that need to be done, including the one for today. So I'll open that manifest. We need to do a load compliance form for this job, so we can have vehicle management forms. Make sure it's clean. Check the temperatures and then get a signature. Right. So a form can be done. In this case, we also need to load the vehicle. So it gives us all the packs that we need to load, and we can go and scan those. And it's in reverse delivery sequence. So we make sure we put the pack that we need first is at the door. Again, that's an option. They don't have to do that. Okay, so we'll notice on here that we've got no scheduled or expected times. So pressing this start button, so the driver's now in his cab, he's ready to go, he presses the start button. So what that's going to do automatically is calculate a scheduled and expected time. So it's going to tell us what time we're expecting to get there and what time. And this scheduled time will not change, but this expected time will change based on how the day is going. So go into my jobs and I can see the jobs that I've got in the order I need to go. So I'll go to Mount Lolly first. If I need directions, I can press directions and it'll take me to Google Maps and tell me how long it's going to take. When I get there, I say I've arrived. And then we've got 2 options here. One is to deliver the product, which we're doing here. The other one is just to get a POD. So in this case, we've got deliver the product and confirm that we're giving the customer the goods. Once we've delivered it, we can get a POD. Dave, and then again, photograph, and then we complete the job. Okay, and then he moves on to the next one. All right, what that does is refreshes this job. So then we've now got that it only took me less than a minute on site. So this is the time on site. I completed this time, and now I'm ahead of schedule by a few minutes. So, and if I go into the consignments and open up this one, I can see that we've got a proof of delivery. So there's the signature, a beautiful photograph is all there. And then we continue to go through them. I'm just going to very, very quickly, do these deliveries so that we can see at the end of the process, we've got a list of, we can see how the performance of the delivery went. Let's do the next one and do my delivery. So I'm super fast. And I complete it. And then once I've completed all my jobs, I can just complete the manifest, which is to finish the manifest off. All right. So what we've seen there is we've gone through and we've done a delivery. We've got pending POD because everything happens in the background on these devices. What we've done is we've gone through and now we've completed it and we've got all our PODs and we've finalized the job. So now we've got, it's supposed to take 1 hour and 23 and took 2 minutes, just as well because we haven't got 1 hour and 23 for this demo. And that is how with the WMS can help you with your processes, and or I hope I've given you some different scenarios that you can use for different ways of getting your customers out, and your customers should be satisfied. Then, of course, finally, before we finish, we want to make sure that we can provide data as well. So you want to be able to provide KPI data. You want to be able to see how you are improved. So, for example, the scheduled versus actual times and how long you spent on site can allow you to adjust based on a customer level if a customer takes longer on site. And your warehouse data we capture in our WMS, so we can see what's happened. We've completed 4 orders today. We've created 1, and if we go into the user stats, we can see my pick rate, how many orders I've picked, how many pick attempts I made, and we also capture information. Within the system, everything is downloadable, so you'll see this button here that allows you to download the data in any of the screens, so that you can then put it into, slice and dice it if you're an Excel expert. So yeah, so look, I think I've run out of time now. So that's pretty much what I wanted to show you. I just wanted to give you an overview of the system. I wanted to discuss how you can communicate better internally and externally, and how you might prepare and deal with different types of orders in a different way and within the same system. So we probably can open it up for questions, or back to.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. I think that was quite comprehensive, and I think for me that the thing that stands out is a mature warehouse management system. It helps with driving efficiency within the business, which does have a direct effect on end user customer satisfaction. But I think the couple of things that stood out for me was also the user experience, the picking, packing, the process that you went through. It's very intuitive, and the accuracy of data, no matter what part of the process you're in, that kind of stands out as well. And that's facilitated by your seamless integration with MYOB products, both eveXso and Acumatica. For those on the call who might not be aware, MYOB Advanced has been rebranded to MYOB Acumatica. The product's the same, it only reflects the strengthening partnership between the two companies, MYOB and Acumatica. But in interest of time, I think we should move on to the questions. And I will start by Chris's question. He asks, are there automations for assigning customers to certain pick users as soon as a sale is created?
Yeah, so yes, there would be. We talked about different ways before. So you can, within any system, you can specify a ship. So for example, let's talk about Acumatica. I'm still getting used to that as well. So Acumatica, each customer can be assigned a ship via, and in eveXso you've got a transport method, I think, that you can assign that user to, and then we can push that down using a shift or through automating the assignment process to assign that to a particular user or group of users. So yes, isn't
Perfect. Perfect. There's a question from Gay. This looks totally different to how our system set up with eveXso. Does any of this relate for our systems here at All States? How would you want to take that?
Yeah, well, I can talk. Hi, Gay, how are you? Um, yes, this version of eveXso is completely different. So we rewrote the system from the time up. So all states are on version 1 of eveXso, and we will be moving them to version 2. So you probably want to have a separate conversation about that, Gay. But yes, it is different to set up. These are the ones where the emails that you keep getting that you ask about. This is the version that we're talking about here that I just demonstrated. So I'll come back to you on that.
Thanks, Jason. Aaron asks, does your software have an integrated stock take function with MYOB Excel?
Yeah, so we have a stock take feature, quite a comprehensive one, as you can imagine. What we do is we create adjustments in my eveXso. So you do the stock taking of eveXso, because my eveXso doesn't have multi-bin. So eveXso, you know where everything is. You create stock take, you do the stock take, you check it. You can do your validations, and then when you process it, it will create stock transactions in my eveXso, and it will create adjustments in MAB Advanced as well. So, sorry, MAB Acumatica.
Great. Thanks, Jason. Question from Chris. How does it handle part order pick and ship? For example, we have sales orders that would require 3 shipping containers to fulfill, but we would like to dispatch the first container ASAP, and it may be consolidated across multiple orders for that customer.
Yeah. So, look, that depends. A lot of that comes down to the ERP telling us what you want to send. So usually that decision's made not necessarily by the people in the warehouse, but by the people that control the system. So in my Acumatica, there's the ability to generate a shipment for what you want to send out now. Within eveXso, what you can do is we import. We've got a concept of a project, so we import them as a project, and within that project, we can have multiple dispatches. So you can say, okay, I need to send 300 of this item, and I can only fit 50 at a time. So I'm going to send the first 50 out now, and then I'll wait until the next 50 are prepared or manufactured, and I'll send the next 50 out next time. So we can deal with that situation, and multiple orders for the same customer, or even multiple orders for multiple customers, can all go in the same container, no problem, using the wave picking and the consolidation that we talked about before.
Perfect. We've got another question that asks, what are your recommendations for placing stock in the warehouse to make picking easier?
For locating stock, did you say?
Placing stock in the
Placing
warehouse.
stock. Yeah. Well, look, and that's a common question, but it really depends. So the easiest ways to do is to look at, if you've got seasonal stock or if you've got stock that always moves, obviously you want to put that closest to the packing area so that you can reduce the amount of space that you walk in. But it doesn't always work like that. I'll give you an example of in food service, for example, you have you might sell a lot of flour, but you've got things like big cartons of baked beans and things that have got sharp edges. you don't want to pick your flour or even your packets of crisps. You don't want to be picking those first and then putting the heavy stuff on top. So um, something, if you've got a kind of thing where you're building a lot of pallets, you might put the the things that make a nice pallet base first. So your nice cubed cartons that are robust, like tins, for example, in that case. And then as you go around the picking queue or around the pick route, the products get lighter or more awkward. So if you've got a bag of flour, you don't want to put a bag of flour on the top and then place something that could pierce the flour and on top. So in an ideal world, you put your fastest moving stock closest in a particular area or closest to the packing bench. But it depends on your scenario and what type of products you've got.
That makes sense. We've got a question from Yatin. How can we use eveXso for production order process, issue of materials, etc. for in MYOB Acumatica for manufacturing module?
Yeah, so I didn't really show that. But we do have a connection to we've got a production area which connects to the Acumatica production module. And what we do is we take the production order and we present the raw materials. As you pick, when you finish picking them, and you can do the receipting as well. So that will create the finished goods and you can put it in the warehouse. And then what we do is we create the material moves and the move entry of the final products at the end of the process usually. We can do it as we go, but often we'll wait until you finish the production and then we'll create all of the products at the same time. So we'll create a material move with all the elements, the raw materials, and then a move entry for the final finished goods to bring that in stock.
Perfect. And probably, Yatin, this is probably a case for reaching out to your account manager as well at Kilimanjaro. And the next step might be we could set up a demo for you or with eveXso to kind of look into this further. We'll probably take the last question just in the interest of time, and that's what are some simple steps we can take to optimize our warehouse operations and improve customer satisfaction without eveXso?
Well, that's a good question. I think, well, it all goes down to the same type of thing. I mean, you still need to be able to communicate the visibility in what's going on in the warehouse. I think is critical because the customer service team want to have confidence in what you're doing, but they also want to be able to communicate. So if you've got making sure that the instructions are on the picking slips that print out and that they're also being processed. It would be good if you could have some kind of recording of, if it's practical, of who's doing what, so that, if there are any customer service issues, you can identify who worked on that order and see if there's any patterns. But yeah, look, it depends. You're down to emails and maybe system automations, so people can put a checkbox in the system to say, right, can you send out a notification? This is ready. Please send out a customer email. So a CRM, I suppose, might be a good way of doing that if it's not possible.
Yeah, but it's I think if you do need a complete end-to-end solution, a mature product that can handle all the different aspects, a warehouse management system is probably what you should be investing in. But yeah, all right, fabulous. I think we'll leave it at that for today. Thanks, Jason, for the webinar. Great to get context on how smarter warehousing drives up customer satisfaction and what value eveXso brings to the table. Thank you all as well for attending. We will make the recording available. And if you're keen to know more, get more dedicated demos about the product, reach out to your account manager from Kilimanjaro. We also look forward to seeing you all at our next in the series webinar focusing on customer satisfaction. The details are up on the screen in front of you, so please register now. Thanks all and have a fabulous rest of your day.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.